It increases the employability of the workforce and the competitiveness of the economy put together. And there has been some studies which show that if we give for upskilling, it would lead as a factor of production a tremendous increase in our GDP. Next, please. And as we all know, and this has been said quite often, that we have a window of opportunity as India because of our demographics. And we have around 62% of working age population between 15 to 59 years. And 28 years is our median age. And for a considerable period of time, this window is open, during which time we need not only to educate our young people, but also to give them skill and make them employable so that they add to the productivity of the economy. Next. When we talk about the skill and education integration, we find that, and since we are talking about basically about the higher education, I will just briefly say that from class 6 onwards, we have a sizable number of people. We also have the school dropouts, which are from class 8 onwards. We have some people who are neither in employment, neither in training, neither in education, and that makes a very considerable chunk of our population. And we have around 4 crores or so in the higher education. So the total estimated population which needs to be looked into is the around 23.6 crore, which is a huge number. And in addition, we also need to upskill them, give them lifelong learning needs of almost 50 crore in employment workforce as well. Next, please. Next. As you all know, the economy has changed, especially after the COVID, and the often term which is being used is the future of work. And the way we are living, our future of the climate change and green economy is also taking place. So we have to talk about semiconductors, we talk about the green hydrogen, as well as piped water supply. We have the care economy is also growing because a lot of population in the world is aging. And we have the technology and digitalization whereby all of us are connected through our mobiles with the technology, and the information dissemination has never been faster. Next. If you look into the education side, I just giving an example. I'm not a professor, but just to give an example to emphasize the skilling part. When we had education, started with education, it was more of the lectures and memorization. Then it went to internet-enabled education. Then it became knowledge-based education, and now it is a time for innovation and skill-based education. And it is here that our national education policy assumes salience. Next, please. So what are the challenges in the conventional higher education system? As I'm not saying from my side, but it is a general, it is oft spoken and commented upon, that our higher education, or indeed our education system, has been more of the learning and less on the practical and hands-on skills. There is a limited mobility between vocational and higher education. Our students, we have around 20 lakh students every year in the government and other ITIs, and they find it difficult to integrate with the higher education system. There has been a less than required investment in the infrastructure and faculty for the state government higher education institutions. And there is a great disconnect between what we teach in the higher educations and what the industry needs. And of course, the higher education institutions in general are in the low skill and productivity equilibrium, where there is a need to reform the curriculum, reform the teaching pedagogy, and add on the work-related skills. So when we are talking about the education system and skilling and making India during this Amrit Kal, we need to look into our education and skilling afresh. This slide will try to show you that if we see the data, we find that the unemployment rate is higher for persons with graduate degrees, which means that there is a lack of work skills. And we also find on this right-hand side, you will see that there is a trend towards the undergrad level students to pursue upskilling so as to make them more employable. And as our Honorable Prime Minister has also gone on to state, that there is a time has come where there is a greater reliance on the skills and honor rather than the degrees. And for that reason, we need to see for the skill integration with the education. Now, how does the NEP talk about the education and skill integration? It says very clearly that by 2025, there will be vocational exposure across all levels, school, colleges, to be raised to 50%. There has to be a credit assignment and accumulation and transfer through academic bank of credits. There has to be a flexibility in choice of subjects, and there should not be any hard separation between the educational streams, science and arts and commerce and literature. There should be a comprehensive credit-based academic and skill qualification framework. We have a national skill qualification framework as well. And as far as possible, we should be able to use the infrastructure which is there in education and skilling together. And there should be a place for short-term skill programs and work-based programs in the higher education institutions as part of their curriculum. Next. So what are the enablers which will allow this integration to take place? I'm very happy and proud to say that because of national education policy and also because our Honorable Minister, Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan, is also the Education and Skill Minister, we have been able to do quite a lot together and in this direction. So first thing that has happened is the National Credit Framework, which allows credits to be given in a number of hours for all types of learning, which is academics, which is vocational, which is experiential. I request all the teachers here to have a look at the National Credit Framework and the table therein how this credit has been devised. We also have, because the economy is changing, we also have the future skill courses also ready, which is around 50 plus sectors, and these are ready to be adopted in the public domain. We have adopted a blended learning guidelines, which is also addresses the evolution of pedagogy, how we can use AR and VR and digital skilling also. We have as part of our skilling part, we have included the employability skills in all types of skills, which includes digital financial literacy, inclusion, communication, customer service, entrepreneurship as part of the education so that the students are made aware of the different employability skills which are required. We also have the NSQF aligned higher skilling as certificate diploma programs. In that also UGC and our NCVT have issued guidelines. And we are also working quite a lot about how we do the mutual recognition of qualifications to enable international mobility, which is also a very important part of the whole story. Next, please. This shows the creditization of all kind of learning, as I had said earlier. It can be a classroom teaching, it can be a technical vocational education, online, it can be internship or apprenticeship, it can be social work, it can be sports and games, it can be examination. So there is a combination by which the credit can be assigned, and how the credits will enable the person is the mutual entry and mutual exit and mutual the people can have a skill courses, earn some credit, have education institution, earn some credit, put them together, go for employment, go again after some work for the skilling or higher educations. So multiple entry and multiple exit point has been very well devised, and we have been working with the UGC and AICT and NCVT who have given detailed guidelines. So when we are designing our curriculum, we need to take this factor also into account. Having said that, how do we go ahead and do the integration of skilling with the higher education, which is my theme, which is the objective of the NEP, and that is what I work for. As I said, that there is a credit-based framework, so we will have to implement the National Credit Framework, which has happened, which is already out. We have to bring an harmonization between National Skill Qualification Framework and National Higher Education Qualification Framework. For that also work is going on. And there has to be a flexible norms for faculty for teaching skill-based courses. So it may be a professor of practice or getting industry people working there, designing our faculty system so that we are able to get the experienced persons with a lot of lot of skills, etc., industry background, also to come and teach in higher education and skilling institutions. We have to embed the skilling in higher education curriculum. This is the most important part I would like to say. We have to map the ITI diploma or with higher education so there is a lateral entry. We have to creditize, which has already been done for short-term skilling programs, which can be taken as part of the curriculum. We have to design a structure so that the industry is also a very important part of the whole exercise. And for that, we need to have a flexible curricular structure, and we need to embed internship, on-the-job training, project work, research programs, etc. So the students, while having education, they can go around in the field, understand the requirements, and also get sufficient skills and awareness so that they are employable later. And we have also devised a Skill India digital platform, for which I will talk very briefly later, which allows all these things to come together on a platform where it allows for the skills to be given on choice, place where you want, how you can go higher skilling. It is also linked to the jobs, so you can able to see where are the jobs required in the sector, and you can pursue your education or skill qualification in that line. Next. As I said earlier, that we have to use the education institutions, higher education, schools, etc., for skilling as well as general education. Under the Prime Minister Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, we have already had a round of the Skill Hub program in which we had these skilling programs in education. This year also, we have so many colleges and universities and schools coming forward, sharing their infrastructure so that they can give skill training for the students of their school, colleges, as well as the people from outside. Their future skill centers that also needs to be prioritized. And as I said, there are many higher education institutions. For example, our Honorable Minister, Mr. Pradhanji, had a meeting with the Delhi University Vice Chancellor, and they've already laid down plans that how they can start higher education institutions, skill centers in around 20 such institutions. And the very important part is that the apprenticeship-based learning, which is, what is apprenticeship? Apprenticeship is that you work on the job, you earn skill and learn. That needs to be brought in as a part of the curriculum. There are many private institutions, higher education institutions in the country who have adopted these things in tune with the industry requirements, and that needs to be integrated along with practical training and employable skills in the education institutions. And finally, I would like to just say that there is Skill India Digital, which we would like to popularize, and we like it to be used by all of you, the students and the teachers here, so that we are able, next slide, so that we are able to bring the education and skilling and regulation and the jobs and what have you together. So this is all I would like to say. And finally, talking about the Gargi College, I would request ma'am, the principal ma'am, that we have there is a scope for having skill-based courses here also in your college, ma'am. It may be a graphic designing courses, it may be a digital marketing, it may be business and management, it may be programming, creative arts and design, cosmetology, and such other courses which can also be brought into your college, so that it enables the students, while they are pursuing their degrees, to also become employable. And I'm here, I will be very keenly listening to all the professors, Professor Anand Prakash, Professor Shashi Tyagi, Professor Vimal Ra, Professor Manisha Priyam, and Professor Avinash Pandey, to see their point of view, and I'm willing to offer any kind of support which is required to bring skilling into higher education institutions. Thank you very much for listening to very patiently.